Hey, see you tomorrow.
For sure, bro. Hey, what's up? I'm Devin. Climbing is a challenging sport, so it's important that you have people you trust to help out as you climb. When I'm climbing to the top of the wall, it gives me peace to have my friends down below helping me know where to go and what to do, even when I'm not sure of my next move. But sometimes, the way they tell me to go doesn't make sense from where I am. But I know that they have my back and I can trust what they're telling me. Trust doesn't always come easy. Sometimes it's hard to know who I can trust when I have no idea what to do. Do you ever feel like it's hard to know who you can trust? The best place to look for answers like this is in the Bible. The Bible is God's true message to us about himself. In the book of Exodus, God had freed his people, the Israelites, from the land of Egypt where they were slaves. As they were leaving, the Pharaoh, the leader of Egypt, changed his mind and sent all his men, horses, and chariots to capture the people. Can you imagine what the Israelites were thinking with an entire army coming after them? Let's see what happened.
Moses and the Red Sea. God led his people, the Israelites, out of Egypt to the shore of the Red Sea. When the people looked back, they saw Pharaoh and the Egyptians chasing after them. They were terrified and called out to God for help. They went to Moses and said, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? It would have been better to stay in Egypt than to die in the desert." But Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. You will see how the Lord will save you today. The Lord will fight for you. Just be quiet and still."
Did you hear what Moses said? Do not be afraid. I don't know about you, but I would have been terrified, stuck between a giant army and a giant sea with what looked like no way to escape. It was probably hard to trust God in that moment, but let's see how God showed his people that they could trust in him no matter how impossible it seemed.
Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people to keep going. Hold out your staff and stretch your hand over the Red Sea, dividing the water so the people can go through on dry ground. I will make the Egyptians follow you. My glory will be seen by what happens to Pharaoh, the chariots, and his army. The Egyptians will know that I am God." The angel of God, who had been leading Israel's army, moved behind them and was between the armies of Egypt and Israel. The armies did not go near each other all night long, and there was a cloud of darkness separating them. So Moses reached out his hand over the Red Sea. All that night, God pushed the sea back with a strong wind. With walls of water on their left and right side, the people of Israel walked across the sea on dry land. All of Pharaoh's army followed God's people into the sea. Near the end of the night, the Lord confused the Egyptian army. He caused the wheels of the chariots to get stuck and made them hard to drive. The Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting against us." Again, the Lord spoke to Moses. "Reach out your hand over the sea. The waters will come back over the Egyptians." So Moses reached out his hand. At sunrise, the sea returned to normal. As the Egyptians tried to run away, the waters came back and covered the entire Egyptian army. That day, God saved the people of Israel, and they saw his power over Egypt. The Israelites trusted in the Lord.
That's a lot of trust. Moses trusted that God would take care of his people. When the people were still, God told Moses what to do. God had saved the people from Egypt, and now they had to trust him for their escape. We have opportunities to trust in God every day. We can trust God when we don't know what to do or where to go next. When we are following God, we can trust that he will lead us and show us his amazing power. We can be secure in God's plan, even when we have no idea how he will work it out. It can be kind of scary trusting God when life is crazy, and looking behind can be just as scary as looking ahead. But when we are still and listen to where he's guiding us, we can always trust in God because he is trustworthy. We can trust God because he has already kept his promise to us. You see, just like the Israelites, we needed to be saved too, not from a charging army, but from our sin. Sin is when we choose to do what we think is best instead of following what God says is best. Our sin separates us from God, but God sent Jesus to take the punishment we deserve for our sin. Because Jesus took our punishment, we can be saved when we choose to follow God and ask him to forgive us. No matter what happens in your life, God is always trustworthy, even when you doubt. Now, You'll still have times when you feel scared or confused, but you can trust that God is always in control, and you can be secure in Him.
Yo, Devin, can you belay me on this climb?
For sure, bro. I better get going. I'll see ya.